This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the president of Palamina Corp, Mr. Andrew Thomson. Andrew, how are you? It's been a bit.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, certainly things have changed on the gold front. Obviously, the gold price has broken its high, so we're getting pretty excited here because we're one of the premier gold exploration companies on what I call a grassroots play, and we finally have a market for drill-ready grassroots plays.
Well, you and the team deserve credit because you used the bear market to bring in projects that in this environment, people are going to have to pay significant premiums to even access. You have a group of them. For people not familiar with the Palamina story, can you provide a brief overview of the projects that you have in the portfolio? And then let's get into specifics right after that.
Yeah, sure. So we basically in 2017 staked a lot of ground that came open the majors has held previously in the Puna orogenic gold belt. Those projects now, that investment is now starting to pay some dividends. Notably, we vended one of them to a company called Helio Resources, which has now been rebranded as Windshear. They will announce a $1.3 million financing closing. We're just waiting for venture approval, but that's just closing. It's exciting because we hold 20%. And Mark Saunders, who built Mandalay with Brad Mills, has personally said to me as one of the other major shareholders on the board that he's rolling up his sleeves and has another one in him. So, I'm excited by the fact that we have another opportunity in the sense that we're an equity partner on another exciting play. So, and then we've got the one that we've moved for $2 million and a lot of interest in the balance of the portfolio.
Can you provide a little bit of context and perspective on, frankly, the massive scale of these projects? Because it's significant.
Yeah, we've been talking about the majors looking down for many years. It's been quite frustrating because they haven't been playing ball. Quite frankly, nobody's been interested in grassroots projects for a significant amount of time, and as a result, there isn't a lot of product. And what we're seeing now is quite the opposite. I can tell you I had a phone call. We've had 4 phone calls in the last week of people wanting to finance us. So the shoe is on the other foot. It's quite good from the perspective that I think the majors in the next 3 years are going to have to reach down, and now the mid-tiers have funding. So now there's competition. So we may, unlike the last round, actually get back to one of these markets where there's competing bids for projects. We saw it with Guyana Goldfields where the Chinese went in and tried to purchase it. And so we're just getting into that real sweet spot where you've got the highest gold price at all time. And again, if you're operating in places outside the U.S., it's even greater because of the currency discrepancy. So it just doesn't get better in terms of having something that hasn't been drilled and getting a good drill hole out.
Again, for those not familiar, can you provide us with a number of the district scale gold projects that you have? Because it's not just one, and it's not just 2, and it's not just 3.
Yeah, in the Puna orogenic gold belt, we have 4 gold plays, and then we have a silver play as well that we haven't said very much about. I can say that Aftermath Silver just did a deal on the Barangala project across the lake. And again, it's all the same geology, and we staked ours, and they're making payments of US $15 million over about 6 years. So again, that's a defined deposit with a big tonnage. It's got 50 million tons, but it gives you an idea of the scale of the projects in the district we're in. Things like Karani, which Bear Creek on the silver side, and on the gold side, Oyachea and La Rinconada. So, at the end of the day, we've got 4 major projects, one that we've sold, one that we've put 2 million plus into, and then 2 that are sort of sitting idle that we'll spend time on in the future.
The most recent bit of news came from the Koasa gold project where you sampled 3.2 meters of 12 grams per ton gold. That was the highlight number, but as important to me, and I've been following the company and I'm a shareholder and obviously keeping up, is the continuity of these samples that you've been able to deliver. Can we talk about Koasa and what that looks like moving forward, given the landscape with COVID and the lockdowns and how that's affected Peru?
So what people aren't aware of is that project it took us 2.5 years to put the package together. Crucero on our flank has 2 million ounces. I believe it's economic now People are ignoring that, but the majors that we're talking to aren't. We just walk the trend. We're within a 4 kilometer mineralized trend, but about 1.2 kilometers of that we defined two zones. The 3 meters of 12 grams that we just defined there's actually another zone there with 3 meters of 30 plus grams, and then a kilometer away we're getting a meter of 123 grams where another zone has 620 grams. So again, this is something where we walk the trend. It's all structurally controls. Our team, we're using the same exploration team that we picked up. It's all in country, so we don't fly anybody in and out. So we're operating. We just started our new program, but I'm really excited because the more work we do, the more surface mineralization we've seen. It's all new discovery. There's lots of visible gold zones, but more importantly, when we drill, I'm certain we're going to hit something. It's whether we get continuity that's the key to building the resource, and I'm anxious to get on top of that.
Let's talk about what Palamina looks like moving forward. I mentioned COVID and the effect that had on exploration. Obviously, there was a quiet period on everything, ranging from permitting to being able to deploy the team out in the field. Where do things stand now as it relates to Koasa? Because if I'm not mistaken, that is the immediate focus as far as potentially drilling it out, correct?
Koasa is our main flagship. We've flown it, mapped and sampled. We're currently building drill pads. The house or field area that we're using for the 30 plus geologists, et cetera, we completed 90% of it before COVID hit. They're up there finishing it now. I won't kid you though, Peru is not a great place. They're going to introduce more lockdowns, in my opinion, in the next week. We're a bit fortunate in that both the properties that Windshear, which is our equity partner, and Palamina have, we've got teams back on both projects. They're fairly secluded in that one is a jungle prospect where you don't go to town, you sit in the field. That's the Windshear one, and the Palamina one. It's in a very small town, but again, we're up at elevation where there aren't a lot of people. In terms of running the drill program, we did get our environmental DIA permit at Christmas, and then everything shut down, and we're just waiting on our Iniciadas Actividad, which is our initiation, where basically it's an approval of the water permit and the archaeological, which are completed. But it's been difficult. The mines department in Peru shut down for 2.5 months or a month and a half. And then in addition to that, they've had changes in terms of the people running the mines department. They just, again, Congress did not approve the new mines minister, so they've put up a different mines minister. So, a lot of the things that would take a lot of time to get done are completed. So for us, we still haven't we can't make the decision to go drilling till we get the Iniciadas Actividad, but I do feel we're close. But I just want to caution that, Peru still has major issues with COVID. They're underfunded. They don't have the same resources we do here. And our primary focus is to make sure that the people that we have are safe. And so it is changing, weekly or monthly or whichever way you want to look at it, but we're on top of it.
Let's talk share structure and market cap. Your market cap is tiny relative to the quality of projects you've been able to roll into Palamina. Major shareholders include, I know yourself, billionaire Ernesto Echevarria, Mr. Jeff Phillips of Global Market Development, amongst others. Can we talk about some of those significant shareholders? I know they've been supportive. I know you have skin in the game and have written several checks.
So if you go to our insider trading, I can say that I'm well over 1.4 million. I've been buying stock at every level. I'm a big believer. This is not something I do because I'm trying to earn money, as some people have said. It's because I want to find a big discovery. There's 45 million shares out. I'm at 9.9, but with my wife, I'm higher. Ernesto's at 8.5. He's got other family members that hold stock. Jeff is around this. We're all around, we're just below the 10% from a reporting point of view. It's just to keep things easy. But at the end of the day, I think with those three individuals, or us three individuals, and maybe two others, it really is very tightly held, somewhere in the neighborhood of around 65%. So you can do the math. With 45 million shares out, there's about 15 million shares on the float. So the issue we have is it trades by appointment. But, again, moving forward, I think in this type of environment and market, if we start putting drill holes in, it's a positive in terms of the share price.
Andrew, I'm looking forward to that. It's great having you back on. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Well, the deal that Aftermath Silver did on the project in Santa Lucia has brought a lot of attention to our silver play. And we haven't said very much about it, but we're seeing values of 1.4 kilo silver, 27% copper, and 30% lead. And when you start to look in the context of the district, and there's another group called Kaizen Discovery that nobody's paying attention to, which is Robert Friedland's group that just drilled at Panaya, which we're in both the copper trend and the silver trend. We're seeing a lot of interest in that property and some of the other properties in the company. And I don't like to see things sit, so I'm working on getting other assets moving forward in terms of actual money going in the ground.
Excellent. Andrew, it sounds like an exciting next few quarters here, second half of the year. It's a long time coming, frankly. You know that I've been eager to see Koasa drilled. I know you're eager for that. I've made money with you in the past with Sol Toro, and I get the sense that I'm going to be able to repeat that in spades here with the multiple projects. I want to thank you again for your time today.
Thank you, Gerardo. And again, just to put a head on it, there are very few, if any, pure gold exploration companies that have drill permits ready to go with land packages that they stake themselves without big onerous back-end payments where the money goes in the ground and you can really go off and define resources quickly. And so if you start looking at the spectrum, you're going to find there really are none. And so that's the key point. There's huge demand right now for Mexico and Peru because of the silver price, but we're getting a lot of calls from people that want to be involved in the Peruvian space.
And yet you have a market cap sub 15 million Canadian. It's going to be a fun couple of years, Andrew. Thank you again.
Thank you.